Whenever I talk to women in research about things that they would like to improve about themselves to get even closer to the careers that they want, a couple of topics that come up time and time again are around people pleasing and perfectionism. And in fact, I'm wearing my perfect t-shirt today as a nod to this very topic. And there tends to be quite a bit of self-awareness around these two. And if you're anything like me, you may even at some point have addressed them as weaknesses. I remember once in an interview, I presented perfectionism as high standards on steroids, but something that I was really working on improving. And yeah, I did get that job. But so if you are aspiring to one day head up an insights function within a client-side organization, or be CEO, MD of an agency, but know that one or both of these is something that you would like to work on, then this will be a great video for you. If we haven't met before, I'm Lara Meyer, coach for women who want to rise even further in their research careers with less stress and greater enjoyment. And the really tough thing with both of these is that earlier on in your career, both of these traits served you well and actually helped you get ahead. As a junior researcher, having good attention to detail is so important if you want to be checking tables, analyzing data. Also, being likable will have given you an edge when you're building rapport with clients or participants in focus groups. But when you overuse these perfectionist and pleasing strengths later in your career, they can really hold you back. And while they are different beasts, they both take you to the same destination, which is overwork, stress, exhaustion, and unhappiness. Perfectionist tendencies, I found, can be quite common in researchers because we're literally trained to focus on the small details, because it genuinely makes quite a big difference when it comes to getting the right representation in a survey or a focus group. So if you have this challenge, perfectionist tendencies may look like wasting time and working too long because you're fussing over margins or fonts or alignments of charts in a presentation before getting to the bigger picture details. Or maybe it looks like wanting your team to give you a blow-by-blow account of how they're getting on a particular project or task so that you can ensure that they are doing it right. Perhaps it's you always wanting to see that deeper cut of data, even though your team told you that they already looked and it didn't reveal anything interesting, but you still asked to see it anyway, and it damages trust. Or maybe you become very upset with any kind of critique because all the effort that you put into making it perfect really feels like a reflection on you personally. On the other hand, pleasing tendencies are one of the self-sabotaging habits that are definitely more common among women. And this has been verified in all sorts of observational and research studies, including the positive intelligence system that I use personally. So if you have pleasing tendencies, you may have challenges with being unable to say no to new project requests or shorter deadline requirements. It could look like struggling to set boundaries with work and ending up working longer than you should do or than you need to. Maybe it's agreeing to meetings at times or places that are actually inconvenient to you because you don't want to say that to your client or your boss. Or perhaps you don't actually give essential feedback to team members because you don't want to upset them. And then you end up having to keep mopping up the same mistakes because they remain unaware or unsupported with the things that they need to fix. And perhaps you're even not as demanding as you need to be with your boss or other senior leaders for the ways that you need them to support your professional growth. Personally, this pleasing thing has been an issue for me for years. And one of the things that a stakeholder shared was no matter how busy or hectic it gets, Lara never drops the ball. Wow, at the time, that statement made me so proud. I thought, oh, I'm being recognized for my ability to keep everything running no matter how busy it is. And that would have been awesome if that hadn't been driven by my inability to say no or to renegotiate or to disappoint people. It would have been awesome if it didn't end up with me working all hours and utterly exhausted as a result. And it's only years later, when I've really worked on those pleasing tendencies, that I've reflected on how much it actually revealed about how I was operating at that time, saying yes to everything and it being completely unsustainable. So while you can see they're quite different, if you recognize any of those traits from the examples that I gave, what can you do about it? Well, there are specific techniques that I teach clients for dealing with each of these ways of operating, because although they both lead you to the same place, they are down to quite different paths. That said, one of the simple things that I recommend for both of them is the 10% rule. I like this one because it's easy, immediately actionable, and it's small enough to be achievable. Now, I have to be honest, before I share this with you, I have to say it won't fix that underlying root cause of why you operate in these ways, but it will give you enough to take the edge off your traits and make a little bit of progress to begin with. So you can relax a touch and start to give yourself a little bit of the breathing room that you need to think about how to go deeper. So if you notice your perfection tendency getting in the way, say to yourself, what are the 10% of niggles that I can accept today? And conversely, if you notice your pleasing tendency holding you back from a candid conversation, say to yourself, what can I do to be 10% more clear in my feedback that would help the other person's development? And if your goal is to feel less stressed and exhausted from overwork, so that you can even contemplate what the next step in your career might be, then I promise that combating these behaviors will do wonders for you. Join me for one of my free virtual events where I talk about this along with some other pillars of rising as a woman in research. It's a 1-hour online session that happens every month using the link below, or drop me an email or DM on LinkedIn or Instagram, wherever's easiest for you, and we can arrange a time to chat. Thanks for watching.